why don't we jump down here to oscillator 2. Oscillator 2 can be a phase oscillator as well. And the settings are exactly the same, so I'm not going to go over that. It can also play a sample, an audio file that you have on your computer. To do that, you're just going to click on sample. You see, right now there's no sample loaded, so I'm going to click on this little arrow to the left and select load sample. It's going to pull up a list or a window that you can search for samples on. Yeah, I'll select a conga. And now if we play that, instead of generating a sound, it's playing an audio file back. So pretty cool. Even though it's playing an audio file, you can still affect the pitch just the same. And it still goes through, the volume knob exactly the same. You can also hit this button, this arrow off to the right that plays the sound in reverse. Pretty cool as well. We'll get into these max and min sliders in a later video. The last setting is a model. It's called model. It's basically like structure. A super stripped down version of structure. So it's string emulation. All right. You have this pad where you can control the inner loss or the stiffness. So this is both inner loss and stiffness at 0. This is stiffness all the way turned up. It sounds very glassy. This is inner loss turned all the way up. It sounds very dead. And then inner loss and stiffness turned all the way up. Sounds like a marimba or something. And I'm just going to turn this up a little bit. The exciter type is basically, if you think of this like a string being plucked and you're deciding what the string is made of, the exciter type would be how the string is going to be plucked. So you have 2 types of exciters. All right. The resolution is basically how many overtones it's a Ultrabeat is going to recreate. So the higher the resolution, the more like highs and overtones you're going to get. That sound is super dead, but here, let me see. So lots of overtones. Turn it down. It filters out a bunch of those overtones. All right, and that is oscillator 2. Now let's move. Let me turn that off. Turn the noise generator on. The noise generator, basically, it's always going to generate white noise, but they did a cool thing and they gave you separate filters that you can use just for the noise generator. So you don't have to use Ultrabeat's main filters for the noise generator. You're pretty much always going to want to filter noise. So they knew that and gave you your own filter. So let's see. This is the cut knob, and they give you a selection of low pass filter, high pass filter, a band pass filter, or you can bypass the filter section altogether. And this down here is dirt, they call it. Basically what it's going to do is it's going to make white noise is linear, and this messes it makes it not linear randomly. So if you turn this up, you can hear how it gets all crazy. It also seems to have the effect of filtering out a lot of the highs. So that is dirt. And then the the noise generator also has its own volume knob right here. And even though it has its own filter section, you can filter it in here, and then you still have the option to send it through Ultrabeat's main filter and distortion section. And while I'm right there, why don't we talk about that? In this section here in the middle, you have a filter here in the top half, and the bottom half is types of distortion. There's either crush or the other one they call distortion. You can turn them on or off by clicking on their names. When the names are grayed out, it's off. So if we wanted to take the filter out and just use the distortion, there you go. Put the filter back in. I'm not really going to talk about the filter section because I think that's pretty obvious. The distortion section, you can either have clip distortion or like analog distortion. Distortion is analog distortion, and then crush is what they call clip distortion. There's also one more thing to talk about. This button, this arrow in the middle, is just the signal flow of this center section. So if the arrow is pointing downward, it's gonna anything you send into this middle section is gonna go through the filter first and then through the distortion section here on the bottom before it continues on. If you click that button and the arrow goes up, then it's gonna do just the opposite. It's gonna go through the distortion section and then through the filter section. All right. And that is pretty much all I want to talk about for this video. Next video, we'll talk about like the envelopes, the 4 envelopes and the LFO, and how you can use those to modulate a lot of the parameters over here. All right, hope you guys like the video.